It's one shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the...
All right, we are live. What's up, y'all? How you guys doing? Hope you're having an absolutely amazing evening. For those of y'all that are new to Pre-PT Grind, my name is Joseph Ngugi. I am a physical therapist. I am also a PT school acceptance coach. And at Pre-PT Grind, if you just found Pre-PT Grind, you're in the right place. If you are someone that is looking toward, to getting into the profession of PT, physical therapy. And so we want to help y'all get into PT school without wasting time or money. That's our goal. And so if that is what you're looking for, you are in the correct place. And today, I have grown to really enjoy this specific series that you are tuning in for. We have come to call it the Pre-PT Inspire series. And the reason why we call it that is basically because, we want to show you real stories, real struggles, real ups and downs, real dreams, and real students that have gone to the other side, which is basically getting accepted into a doctorate level program. And the reason why we've done this is because I think a lot of us have felt alone at some point in our journeys, right? Like if you're watching this live or on replay or listening to this as a podcast episode, like a lot of us have felt alone. And there's nothing more comforting than knowing that somebody else out there went through the same struggles you're feeling right now, and they still got to where you're trying to go, right? Because for a lot of us, when we're feeling doubt, when we're feeling frustration, when we feel like we're too late in the journey, non-traditional, or all the different things that we can, add up, our GPAs are too low. Typically what happens is we start to believe, or at least feel like that means that, maybe physical therapy really isn't for me. Maybe I won't amount to what I want to become. Maybe this dream is just a dream, right? Maybe I should start being realistic and find a different profession because PT isn't going to be my thing. And we're told that by some people sometimes, right? Whether it's advisors or family members. And so we want to shift that for you. So if PT is something that you are passionate about, if being a physical therapist is something you're like, hey, I can't really see any other profession that I align with, and I want to serve as a physical therapist, well, listen, we're here to help you learn how to get there. But one of the first things we need to do is get you to shift how you believe about this possibility of becoming a physical therapist. That's it. And we're not going to do it by just hyping you up. We're going to do it by just showing you real stories, what it really looks like, what it really looked like, instead of just saying, hey, this student got into a program, let's celebrate. Instead of only doing that, and that's good, we also want to be like, this is what it was like. These were the low points. These were the points where I almost quit, right? Here's what it felt like. Here's why. And we get to dive into that. And if you're looking for that, if you're looking to be inspired, then this is the best place to be. And after you listen to this, or while you're listening to this, share this with a friend, invite them, and that's it. So looking forward to tonight. Let me make sure we're actually streaming, because sometimes I go live in the wrong group. So perfect. We are good to go. So tonight I am joined by, this is episode 56. So for episode 56, I am joined by one of our accepted system coaching program alumnists. This is Armando. And Armando recently got accepted into PT school, and he's going to share his story today. And for those of y'all that are non-traditional, a lot you'll hear. I'm not going to spoil anything because I have a lot that I want to hear as well. So for those of y'all that are like, man, I want to hear a story that will really inspire me, tonight is your night. So I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys are excited. And for those of y'all that are watching live, tag somebody, tag your friends, say #teamlive, and we'll go from there. But before we begin, Armando, how you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great, Joseph. Thanks.
Oh,
feeling excited to have this talk.
You are more than welcome, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to be willing to share this, because this is, man, these conversations they're always amazing for me, because it just reminds me just how inspirational it is to fight through some of the toughest moments of your pre-PT journey. But it also just shows me how different everybody is. And it just allows me to appreciate all this stuff. So I'm super excited, man, but I'm humbled that you took time out of your evening. So let's get it started. So let's start from the beginning. Why did you choose physical therapy? You actually had an interesting start with the profession. So tell us a little bit about that. what you were doing before, why the switch over, because I want the students to understand where you came from prior to, starting to talk about your struggle. So what led you to PT?
Sure. I guess we'll start from, before I decided to apply, where I'm a non-traditional student, meaning I've been kind of out of school for a while. And by a while, I've graduated in '06 from my original undergrad doing engineering work. So I had a pretty good long career in engineering before I decided to do the switch. And I feel like at some point in our lives, sometimes we're stuck in a job where we kind of don't like it, or you can kind of see that down the line, this isn't something I wanted to do, like for the rest of my life. And, I hit that point and I was like, do I want to stay here or do I want to keep on, find something else, even though the money was fine? And, and I decided I wanted to actually pursue PT because I was always into health. I was always into fitness, using movement. And that's always I feel like that's a lot of what people's passions are. And it somehow dives into PT. But for me, more specifically, it was that because I was always into that, I see for myself how much freedom it gave me to do the things I like to do that people take for granted. I don't know, playing sports that I played as a kid, or trying out new things, or even just doing daily chores like shoveling or something little things like that, where I don't care if I do it. But I can see a lot of my friends, my family, they're older now, they have kids, they have families, my relatives are older now. They get all these aches and pains and knickknacks that bother them a lot, to the point where they hate doing things. And for me, it's well, I contrast that with what I can do, just using movement every day and just keeping it as part of my life, and what they can or cannot do with their life. And to me, I feel like movement is super empowering and can give you so much freedom in life. And I felt like being a movement expert as a PT, I can help them achieve what they want and just live life, and that's kind of why I decided to just go down this path from my original engineering path.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Here's why I love the fact that you're bringing this up. And how many of you watching live or on replay right now, how many of you are non-traditional students? Say me in the chat if you are non-traditional. If you're traditional, just say traditional. But if you're non-traditional, say me. Say me. So I know who y'all are as you guys are watching this, whether live or on replay. But this is so important because, and I know you did not actually mention this, but I'm going to create a connection and then we'll go to the next questions. But one of the big fears that we hear from students, or one of the big questions that we get from students, is, when do I look for a backup plan? Right? And in looking for a backup plan, what we're really asking is, hey, when do I quit on this thing that I feel called to do, and basically do something else that on the outside is a very successful path, right? Because to everybody else, the career that you had chosen already was extremely successful. So you actually did it kind of backwards, right? So for a lot of students, it's they'll try to pursue PT, but when it gets hard, and that's why question number 2 is going to be so important. But they think, oh, well, if it didn't work out, let me just pick something else that still that's still a great career, but it's not really aligned with what I'm trying to do. So you actually went the path of going down a career that was great. Being an engineer is phenomenal, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, pays well, great, successful career. But you're no. I feel called to do this thing, PT, right? Mm-hmm. And so for you, and I know I didn't tell you about this question, what can you tell us from the perspective of, when you were an engineer, what was it about it? Because you could have very well ignored this feeling of, wanting to go back and being a physical therapist. You could have told yourself, hey, I'm in a successful career, I'm good. Let me just continue working until I retire. What was it about that lack of fulfillment that spoke to you? Because I just want students to understand that if PT is what they want, then, and that's where they feel fulfilled, then you need to figure out a way to make that work, rather than trying to find something that looks successful on the outside but might not actually fulfill you. So from that experience, what are some things that you were man, these were some of the things I was experiencing that let me know pretty, at some point, it was 14 years ago when you graduated, right? So, yep. So what were some of the things that you felt and experienced that let you know, hey, this might not be it for me, and I really need to go towards physical therapy? Because I want students to just understand that fulfillment is a really, really big thing, as opposed to just looking for a career that looks successful or is successful or pays you well and whatnot. Fulfillment is so much more powerful than that. So can you talk about that? Because you experienced it in the reverse. So I hope that was clear, but yeah, I'd love to hear your take on that.
I think for me, I guess it's like you can find fulfillment at your job, you can find fulfillment outside your job, right? But for me, I didn't feel like I was having the impact that I could have while doing the work that I was doing. And engineering is fine. I had nothing against the field, but I felt like, especially for like my community, and I think we all know people who don't go to doctors for whatever reason, right? They don't trust the health system for whatever, right? And I feel like I could become that person that my community can rely on, and I can provide value to them. And that's why I decided to step away, because I knew I can do something with the people around me so that we can all grow old together. We can all play with our grandkids, all the things that like just created so much more priority in my life at that point, rather than just like the paycheck. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. I love it. So that's all I wanted to hear. I just want to hear what your thoughts on that were. And I think that's super, super powerful. Impact is a big thing for you. You were like, man, like I want to be able to impact more people. And this is how I want to impact them. So I love it. I love it. Let's go to question number 2. Now you made a massive shift from a career in engineering to now saying, I want to be a physical therapist. What have been your biggest struggles, right? And for a lot of the students that are listening to this interview, I want them to be able to kind of say, oh, wow, like those sound like some of the struggles I've been experiencing. And I want them to be able to make that association that, wait a minute, these struggles don't mean that I can't get into PT school. These struggles are part of a lot of other people's journey. It's just that certain students are able to kind of fight through those and navigate through them. So for you, what were the biggest obstacles and struggles and frustrations that you experienced as a pre-PT?
Yeah, so I think I would probably break down my struggles as like 2 big ones. First one being like, I had a very low GPA coming out of college, like 2.6, 2.64, something like that to be exact. So not the best. Let's just go with that. And that was always like a big hurdle for me to be like, all right, what school is going to even bother looking at me with such a low GPA, basically, right? Like a lot of programs have a minimum of a 3.0, and I can talk about that a little bit later about some of the programs and what happened there. And it's like, okay, is a school even going to bother even looking at me if a 2.6? And if they are, like, what else can I do to bump up my application in order to even make it look decent, to just even get a shot in the door and have an interview, you know? And then I feel like the second biggest, I guess, struggle for me was just really self-created on myself. It's like I said, I'm older. So I'm 34, I'm married. My wife and I plan on having kids, right? And so like I have all these doubts and like struggles in my head, like, oh, am I even making the right choice right now? Like, is this the right thing for me to do at this stage? Like, give up a very good career to possibly go into debt and start a new career? And like, is this even the right thing to do? And like, am I even good enough to even serve my community? Like, I have all this like imposter syndrome where it's like, I'm not good enough. Like, who is going to listen to me? And all these internal doubts that really kind of like weighed on me throughout this whole entire application process, not just talking about the low GPA at this point. So I felt like I kind of ran through a gamut of like what a lot of people struggle with when applying to school, just all combined in one.
Yeah. Wow. So like being married, age, the imposter syndrome, obviously, having a history of having a lower, GPA, right? From when you had graduated back in, you said 06, right?
Yep, 06.
Okay, so back in 06, when you had graduated, having a lower GPA from back then, and just all those things adding up. It's like I'm not like other students. Other students are finishing school and coming straight from school straight to PT school, and they've got to be a lot more prepared than I am. And so those are real. I don't know, for those of y'all listening right now, I don't know how many of you have been experiencing that. Like, have any of y'all been feeling that? I don't know. Like, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But it's just nice to hear that if you have, like, those things don't have to be the thing that kind of holds y'all back, right? And so for you then, you went to join the Accepted System coaching program. And so what led you? I'm curious, like, what led you to say, hey, I need to find some guidance. Like, I need to find some coaching, some direction. what basically led you to the accepted system? So answer that, and then let us know what that experience was like for you within the program.
So I kind of did things kind of a little backwards too, where like I found 𝙃𝙗𝗏. I was part of one of his SSPT seasons. And that kind of really sparked my idea of like, oh, there's like mentorship, there's a lot of networking, there's a lot of support out there. If I want to become a PT, like back then I just started taking prereqs. So like I probably took his program way too early, quite honestly, but you know, whatever, like it kind of leads me down to like finding you guys basically. And knowing that the accepted system has like a good support system for me to like bounce ideas off of, talk with people who have been there, who are in the places where I want to go, and also just create the opportunities and the life that I really want to create out of this, not just become like a regular PT. I want to do a lot of things besides just with that education and branch beyond that.
You got it. I love it. Wow, I love it. I love it. Yeah, yeah. You know, and GT is for those of y'all that do not know who 𝙃𝙗𝗏 is, go look him up. It's Greg TODD. Super simple. Look him up on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. That is our mutual coach. Like he coached us, and absolutely amazing. Amazing individual to know within the profession, but it led you to kind of interact with us, and you know, and obviously, you know, I'm super grateful for that. And you know, and now once you joined the program, what were some of the things that you're like, wow, like these were some of the biggest game changers within the coaching program that really helped me get to my ultimate goal of getting accepted into PT school? What were those things for you within the accepted system?
I think for me, especially getting paired up with Robin, who was non-traditional, like kind of been where I was at already, also married, and like having her as my coach, like all our coaching calls, I think that's the best part I got out of it. It's like the modules were great, running through the modules and getting all that information was great. But I feel like just finding those people that I can just talk to consistently and like air out some thoughts I had, like these doubts, and like finding people that know exactly what I've been going through, like having those same exact questions and like how they kind of either dealt with it or just like, you know, just bouncing ideas off of, quite honestly, was probably the biggest thing I got out of the accepted system. Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Robin is an absolute rock star, and it's just amazing. You're right. Like it's amazing to find other people that have a similar path, right? Non-traditional, you know, married, understand those same frustrations and struggles. And I think for anyone listening to this, look for people that are a mirror of your journey, but have already gotten to y'all, like to your end goal. Whether like if that's getting into PT school, then find someone that has already gotten into PT school that can help you navigate through it. Someone that understands. Maybe they have the same they had the same struggles, maybe same lifestyle, same point. Maybe they were also non-traditional or traditional. Those things are super important because that's someone that can actually help guide you, not in theory, but from experience. And so, so that's what you're talking about, which is absolutely amazing. And for those of you that are watching this right now that are like, hey, like I'm just stuck, and I need to find some way to kind of navigate through this thing, and I don't know what my first step should be. Just real quick, before we go to the next question, Casey and I created a free 4-part video series, a free one. Like y'all should go to it if you have not already. And we break it down for you. We lay it out for you in a way that makes it super easy to absorb. But also for those of you that feel stuck, you will learn how to get unstuck and well on your way to becoming a strong PT school applicant, regardless of whether you have a low GPA, whether you've struggled with getting in, whether you feel like you've struggled with the GRE, whatever that is, we break all that stuff down for you. So go to acceptancenavigator.com, acceptancenavigator.com, and go watch it tonight. Go watch it tonight. Like just you'll thank yourself for it, because you know, feeling lost and stuck and alone in this process is probably one of the hardest things for anybody. So if you're looking for that, that is the best place to go. And we're always going to talk about it because it's that amazing. So that's that. All right, cool. So now, Armando, for you, and then at the end, I'm going to give you space to just like give advice and things that you experienced in your journey, and, you know, things that you want to tell students that are just, you know, whatever wisdom and advice you want to give to them. I'm going to leave the last question for that. But before we get there, tell us about the day that you got your acceptance letter, because that's a pretty significant day. After the things that you already said to us. You said, you know, the imposter syndrome, time, age, the shift from a career that was already a great career, right? Was a great career, is a great career. And so after going through all of that, deciding you wanted to become a physical therapist, obviously getting like going through the process of navigating through this thing and finally getting accepted, what was that day like? Describe it to us. How did you find out? What were your initial thoughts? Break down that day for us so that we can celebrate with you and some of us can live vicariously through you as well.
Sure. So actually, like I got my, I guess acceptance in like March roughly, but by then it was already starting to get into like the next cycle. Like, oh, I probably didn't hear anything back. I'm just going to start getting ready for everything. And then the next day, I get an email saying I got accepted to this program, and the how do you say, not hypocrite, I don't know, I thought that they would like, it was like a hoax, like, one is how they like sometimes get all like false acceptance letters to like these random
a scam.
Exactly. Like I thought they just sent it out to me accidentally, right? So I emailed the program, the admissions, to make sure like, oh, is this for real? Like, cause I do want to celebrate and stuff, because like I wanted to come to this program, right? And they're like, yeah, we're good. And then like that probably took like a couple of days before I finally like, oh yes, I finally got in, basically. And to me, like, for other reason, I thought like, no, there's no reason why they would give me a spot, basically. Like even at that moment, like I was always doubting why they would give me a spot, and for whatever reason. And I feel like that just speaks to me just thinking I'm not good enough, when obviously I am. So a program gave me a spot. And after that, like just a lot of sense of relief, like, all right, I don't have to like do this for another year, which I was planning on doing that at that moment before I even got the email. But now like it's a big sense of relief, and I'm like super happy that like a lot of things kind of worked out to the way it was, basically.
Man, yeah. Is this a scam? What, like, is this real? Right? Because you assume sometimes we assume the worst, right? You're like, maybe it won't happen this cycle, and when it does happen, it catches you off guard, and it's just, it's a beautiful moment, but everyone receives it differently. So sometimes it takes a few days to process, but man, I'm just so proud of you, and just cannot wait to see what you do with this path of becoming a physical therapist in the next few years, man. So super proud of you. For those of y'all that are on Facebook, heart it up, celebrate that moment with him for a second, because we really either are proud of you because you finally gotten there, or we are looking up to you as pre-PTs because we want to get to where you're at today. So I love it. Let's leave the final question for wisdom that you want to impart, whether that's wisdom from you talking to students about, things that you wish you would have known, whether that is what you would have told yourself a year ago, right? If you could go back in time and talk to yourself and tell yourself certain things, just give us some wisdom from your journey. What are some things that you're like, man, like from the things that I have seen and experienced, these are certain things and topics and points that I want to share with other pre-PTs who are listening to this so that it can help them as well. So I'm going to open up the floor to you. What are your words of wisdom to other pre-PTs that are trying to get to where you are today?
So for me, like, I think the first thing I want to say is like always focusing on the things you can control. For me, as an engineer, I'm always given certain set of parameters and then kind of work around it, right? So applying that to PT school, right? Like I already knew I had a 2.6, let's say, right? I can't change that at this point. So I had to do a lot of other things to kind of boost up my application. Like for example, if getting A's in all my prereqs, I had to retake everything. That's something I could have done. Building a relationship with my professor, that's something I had to do to get those good like letters of recommendation. I was stuck in, I lived in New York City, and that was like a pretty big epicenter for COVID. So all the observation hours was kind of shot out the window. So what did I do instead? Try and focus on getting like some virtual hours and reconnecting with like the people I knew previously in like my old PT clinic, and making sure that I can do the things that I know I can focus on, rather than letting things I can't like drag me down and like make me worry about a lot of things. So I think that was like the biggest thing I had to do, just like focus on the things I know I can play with, can work with, and go from there. And I think just being very confident in your decision, and like knowing that you're not alone in your journey. There are people who are there who have done what you're doing, And it's a matter of finding the people to like either guide you, be your mentor, lead you to the path that where you want to go, because they are out there. As much as we like to think we're all unique snowflakes in the world, every situation, a lot of people have encountered very similar things. And there's a lot that we can learn from others people's journeys and trials and tribulations, and learn from what they've done so that like we don't make the same mistakes that other people have done and kind of push us forward. I think those are the two biggest things I would say to myself, basically, earlier in this journey.
Wow. Did that make, like, for those of y'all listening, was that crystal clear for y'all? Like, just say crystal clear in the chat, because that is it right there. That is it right there. And I think, you know, I've spoken to a lot of students that have had lower GPAs and whatnot, and that's it. Like, I mean, that's as simple and as straightforward as it gets.
Oh, I do have one. I do have one random thing. I kind of thought about it.
Yeah.
I think you should also always have the correct expectations for whatever programs you choose to apply to. Because for me, I knew I had a low GPA. Even after taking all my prereqs, I ended up with like a 2.9, let's say roughly. There are schools that are going to kick me out regardless of whether I get there, just because I don't have a 3.0. And I applied to those schools knowing that I had a chance to do it. But like getting those rejection letters like a week after I applied was really gut-wrenching for me. But I feel like if you do whatever you want to do, if you have like a low GPA, but always have the right expectations for what you're doing, and always research the schools that you're applying for, because there are lots of other schools that will take you for who you are, basically, and not just rely on just your cumulative to get your application over.
That's it right there. Focus on what you can control. Be confident in your decision to pursue PT. If PT is what you've been called to do, so what if you got a 2.5 GPA right now? So what if you have a 2.9 GPA? So what if you struggle with the GRE? So what if, like, y'all, listen, don't let anyone talk you out of this thing, right? Just understand that the path just is a little harder, and that's fine. Like, there's no problem. But notice, I did not say that it's impossible, right? But those things are so important. Focus on what you can control. You know, be confident in that decision. When you start doubting yourself, go back to, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Like, why? Oh, wait, I want to inspire more people. I want to serve more people. I want to change more lives. I want to, you know, do it for my community. Those are the things you were telling me. So if those are the reasons, then I have to be confident in that. And then start asking questions like, wait a minute, if I can only focus on the things that I can control, then what are those things? Do I need help dealing with them? If I don't, am I acting on them? Right? And then the last one is super significant. I hope y'all listen to the last one. Manage your expectations. Manage your expectations, y'all. Please, please, please manage your expectations. Like, you know, I think you said something that's important, man. Like, even in knowing that those schools on paper were a little bit out of range, seeing the rejection letter still hit, right? It's like, wait a minute, but I hoped that maybe, and you know, all that stuff. And I think but you didn't say it with a dead end. You basically said, manage your expectations, know what your decisions mean. If I have a 2.9 and I'm applying to a school that has a minimum 3.0 or a minimum 3.2, I have to understand what that actually means now, right? And I can't just assume that, oh, because I applied to it, it'll just kind of work out. Like, manage it. But you also said there are plenty of other schools that will take you exactly where you're at with the things that you cannot control.
Exactly.
Now, go on, because I love this.
And I think it's all about finding out what each school wants, right? Like, certain schools, that 3.0 you can't debate that, you can't change that, and that's fine. You should know that. You should also know that, like, just because they don't give you a chance, another school might give you a chance. And even then, it's like, a wait list doesn't mean that the door is shut, because I got waitlisted for another program, and I also got offered like their last spot in their program a couple of weeks after I accepted my first spot. So you just need one program to give you a shot, and finding that program that works for you as well, works for them, is basically the key. And do your research, call the programs, talk to them, go to the info sessions, do whatever you need to do. to find out as much as you can so you can find the one program that works for you.
Wow. Were y'all inspired today? Comment inspired if you guys were inspired. This is how it works. There's no cookie cutter, y'all. There is no, like, the application process, like, is not, like, is super possible. But if you guys can understand literally the last 7 minutes, if y'all can take that, regardless of where you're at in your journey, your trajectory as a student will drastically change. You have to understand that. Like, treat each school like it's a human being, like it's a person. And if I can find out what each school wants and apply that, if I can manage my expectations, if I can control what I can control and not worry about the things that I have no control over, then y'all, listen, I start to become a pretty amazing candidate for PT school, or at least I start to understand the things that I need to work on. And sometimes when we do that, we're like, wait a minute, ooh, I thought I was better. I thought I was in a better position, but wait, I got some work to do. I got some prerequisites to retake, right? And that's where man, Armando, I have students reaching out to myself and Casey saying, yeah, I have like a 2.9, prerequisite GPA. I got like 2 C's. I really don't want to take them. And I'm like, retake them. And I'm like, but you can control that. like you have control over it. So if you have control over it, control it and understand that you're doing this to become a physical therapist, not to get into PT school. PT school is just a stepping stone, right? So if we're going to try to, so just don't avoid the hard work, but understand how this game works and play it the right way. If you do that, you'll be good to go. And literally the last 10 minutes have been some beautiful value. And so I hope y'all were inspired today. I hope you guys found a lot of value in this. Listen, if this helped you, share this interview with another friend, share this interview with another pre-PT, because this sure as heck inspired me. So I hope it inspired y'all. And is there anything that you want to leave them off with, Armando, or is that pretty much it?
I think if you can, join Joseph's and Casey's program. Like, I think having the people around you who know what they're doing is probably the best advice that I can give. It's like, you can only look up so many things online and find info and things like that. But when you have people that you can actually talk to about it, is a whole different ballgame at that point. So I would say do that, and just have a good network around you, good family, good friends, support, and that's it.
I love it. Listen, y'all, this has been an amazing episode of the Pre-PT Inspire series. We do this every single Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to be inspired week after week, join us here on our Pre-PT Grind Facebook page, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Share it with your friends. This is episode 56, so we got plenty more coming. So hope you guys have been enjoying these so far. And listen, if you guys are looking for next steps, go to the website I told you before, www.acceptancenavigator.com. If you go there, trust me, you will see the 4-part video series. And if you are interested in being coached by us and applying to PT school with us, go to acceptedsystem.com and we got you covered. So hope y'all enjoyed. Much love. Y'all have an amazing rest of your evening. Thank you, Armando, for your time. This has been amazing. All right, y'all have a good one. Bye.
Bye.